All right, as you have noted, this session will be recorded and you will receive a copy of this in our follow-up thank you email. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for joining us for this Funsaver information session. My name is Roberta Johnson. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the Vice President of Audience Engagement here at the Cultural Alliance. This information, as I said, will be recorded and you will receive that in a follow-up email. In addition to hearing my voice this morning, you will also hear from our entire audience engagement team. I want to take a moment to introduce them to you, which will be Frances Ellison, who is our digital content manager. Many of you have interacted with her through our Funsaver and Philly Fungi program. And Cabria Rogers, who is our audience services manager. Many of you have also interacted with her from an advertising perspective. They both use she, her pronouns. And as we begin our discussion today, I want to take a moment to really center ourselves in this place and time. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. One way we strive towards that effort is by acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands of the Lenape people, and we pay our respects to elders both past and present. Also, if you're just joining us, please take a moment to put your name, your organization that you represent in the chat. And while you're doing that, I just want to give you kind of a brief overview of what to expect in this meeting. First, I'm going to give you a bit of context of why we have evolved the Funsaver program. And Frances is going to give you kind of a visual walkthrough of both our weekly Funsaver email as well as our special promotional emails that we've done. And Cabria is going to give you a little bit more information about the advertising opportunities. We're going to close our discussion today by having a joint discussion about marketing promotions as we recover and come out of the pandemic and be able to provide better services to you. So, also feel free to stop me if I am moving too fast, because I know I can talk very fast. And if you have any questions, feel free to also use the chat or use the raised hand function, and Cabria or Frances will let me know that you have a question. We don't want you to just sit there, with a burning question. We really want to make this as interactive as possible. So I'm going to give you a little bit of context of why we decided to evolve the Funsaver program. So Funsavers has been around since about 2006, 2007. It was largely supported by the Pew Foundation up until 2012, 2013. And since then, we've been evolving the program due to that shift in funding and really the shift in the world. Over these past 3 years, I would say we've really delved deeper into the Funsaver and Philly Fungi programs to really think through what is the next phase in its life cycle. Some of you have participated in our focus groups and our surveys, really evaluating the effectiveness and the efficiency of the program, which has helped us tremendously think through the transformation of these programs. And so I want to take a moment to give you kind of the key takeaways from those research that we've done. As you can see, from our member user perspective, we found that the half price discount model was a hindrance to many of your bottom lines. To many of you, you just didn't have the the quantity to be able to set aside a 50% discount. And then also we found that many of the Funsaver ticket purchasers were becoming full paying subscribers or full price ticket payers. We also found that from our members from the surveys that many of you expressed that you don't need us to sell tickets on your behalf, but for us to really increase the marketing and awareness campaigns that we do for audiences. From our subscribers' perspective, many of them actually use Funsavers to plan their cultural experiences. And we're more interested in unique experiences and deals, but not beholden to the half price discount model. And so from that, we were able to make small changes. Some of those changes you might have already noticed that we switched our discount model to 30 to 50% off. We also further changed that model during the pandemic to just have any type of discount to be much more flexible. But we also upgraded our website to be a little bit more accessible. But as you all know, March 2020 kind of changed that whole thought process. We had to rethink our approach on how we continue to promote the community that was really being devastated by this global crisis. And so we quickly launched our Arts and Culture to Go campaign, which really focused on virtual programming and evolved our Funsaver email to focus on content rather than events. And so here are some of the lessons that we learned from the pandemic crisis. As you can see, that we noticed that audience was enjoying the new content. We also were able to grow our audiences from since April of 2020 over 10,000 new subscribers. And so we were seeing that we went from about 135,000 subscribers to now we're up to 145,289 subscribers in such that period of time. We also learned that discounts was not the sole motivator for subscriptions. And so as the sector recovers, we hear you, and we also recognize that the discount model may not be helpful in our recovery. And so we wanted to accommodate our audiences as well as our member users by making Funsaver program a little bit more flexible and much more richer with opportunities. So before I hand it off to Francis to give you a visual walkthrough of what the Funsaver email changes are, we are planning to continue to evolve both our Funsaver and Philly Fun Guide programs over the next few years. We believe that this is imperative for us to do so in order to just keep up with the ever-changing cultural participation of audiences, as well as with the world and technology. So please stay tuned for outreach to participate in that research to help us shape the future of these programs. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. And now I'm going to pass it off to Francis.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Francis. You've probably seen my name in emails before, because you guys probably get a decent amount of them from me throughout the year. And so I'm going to give you guys just a quick visual kind of component to everything Roberta just said in our next part of this, which is New Year, New Look, New Funsavers. So I'm just going to get out of this. Gotta get out of this PowerPoint. There we go. So, like Roberta said, Funsavers has been around for about 15 plus years at this point, and so many of you have crossed paths with it and are familiar with it to some degree. As you all probably recognize, this is the original Funsaver email. This is probably the one everyone is the most familiar with our content top and bottom, and then our deals, and then ads. This was Funsavers up until March 2020, of course, where we had to figure out how to change and evolve not only a deals and activities focused email, but also a content calendar and a content website in a time where everything was closed and there was so much uncertainty. And that brought us to our next model of Funsavers, where we went completely content focused, and we said, you know what, people probably still want to hear from our members. We still want to get our members in front of our audience in the best possible way that we can. How do we do that? And that's how we came up with the idea of the Funsavers highlight. And some of you have already started participating in the Funsavers highlight. Thank you so much. And that was kind of it at the beginning. We didn't have any deals, and so we were still able to grow our subscriber list with just your stories. And so if you haven't participated or you weren't aware, our Funsavers highlight is just 250 words minimum about you and your organization. As long as it is no fundraising or direct solicitation opportunities, you guys are free to tell our audience anything. What's going on? Do you have anything coming up? What are your hours? Hey, we're reopening. Hey, we have a digital subscription. What we learned over the last 3 years, but definitely over the last year, is that we have a very arts and cultural centered audience, and they're very active participants in the cultural sector. And so clearly they were happy to hear from you guys in any way. And so The Funsaver highlight, is a member benefit to you all. You guys are all entitled to 3 of these in the year to use however you would like, just so long as they're not back-to-back weeks. And so you guys can come talk to me about that at my email address, which I'll share with you guys in the chat after this, and set that up with me. But yeah, so this was pretty much the model for Funsavers up until we started to reopen. We started to change a little bit. And so we introduced the hybrid version of our Funsavers email. So now we had the highlight at the top, still opening with your story, giving them a content focus, and then still offering some limited deals. And I will show you one of our, oh, no. So yeah, same idea, Funsavers offers content, and our content at the bottom, which, by the way, these are our editorial content, and I'm just going to take a moment. This one here is visual and outdoor film. Just to take a brief second to plug the Philly Fun Guide, because these editorials are populated by your events. So yeah, take a look. This is all you guys posting to the Fun Guide, using the Fun Guide. And so I just wanted to take a second to plug that, because when you guys use the Philly Fun Guide, there's so many ways that we are able to get your information in front of our audience, be it the website or it appearing in an email later. What we want to do going forward, because we do still want to offer something fun, something exclusive, and something unique to our audience, but we still want to offer something to you, the membership, and relieving some of that burden from you guys is what we call the Funsavers deal. No longer will we be offering ticket offers. However, we will still be offering deals in our Funsavers email in the form of an ad, like so. So your creative, your content, it's going to link back to your website. You'll handle all the ticketing. You'll get all of that information. But it has a promo code or an exclusive offer. And that's pretty much the only requirement for participating in Funsavers going forward. The ad can have anything that you need on it. It just has to offer something exclusive to our subscriber base. However, if you want to participate in Funsavers and you don't want to offer a deal, or you can't offer a deal right now, we are still offering standard advertising, as you see here, and that will be noted in the email which one is an ad and which one isn't. And so, yeah, so this is going to be our Funsavers model going forward, our hybrid email, where we have your Funsaver highlights, which, by the way, also will link back to your website if you give us a link to do so. Our deals, which, no longer have to go through the Funsavers form. You guys can set that up, your deals, with either myself or Cabria, and she'll give you the skinny and the pricing on all of that in just a second. However, one thing that we are keeping is our promotions, much like our holiday promotion. Our PNC Arts Alive Holiday Spectacular, we do that every December, January. And we hope to do many more promotions throughout the year. That part of it is not going to change, but it is still going to be the same idea, where instead of offering a ticketed offer, you can purchase an ad that just offers a deal to our customers, or you can purchase a standard ad in the email that will be noted as an advertisement. And this is an example of our holiday email, by the way. And so that is pretty much where we're at. That is the evolution of Funsavers. This is what, just give you another look one more time. This is where Funsavers is going forward. And just to be very clear, we're no longer accepting ticket offers through the website. So if you would like to submit a deal, or you would like to participate in the email, you just reach out to myself or Cabria directly. You don't have to use the Funsavers form anymore. And I know that was a lot of information. And some of you are Funsavers users currently, or maybe haven't used it in a while. So I'm sure you guys have questions. So I'm going to stop sharing right now and take the time for any questions that you guys might have for me about Funsavers.
Don't everybody rush at once.
We have Daniela raised her hand. So, Daniela, if you unmute yourself, we'd love to hear your question.
Hello, thank you. And thank you for this info session today. I'm very new to this position at the Woodmere Art Museum. This is my 4th day, so I'm very fresh to all of this. But I was just wondering if we could, if I could just ask to kind of go over the highlight idea again, because I'm loving the idea of having that content shared with your subscribers. I'm just wondering if you have insight on your advice about what those highlights might look like, when those should be submitted to you, if there's a deadline, what the demographic is, right? So Woodmere has a really popular weekly jazz concert, but should it be more focused to children's events, etc.? Yeah, I think that's my question.
Cool. So from serving our Funsavers audience in the past, we learned that they tend to skew older, 45 plus. I think the majority being between 55 and 65 plus, I think. Middle class, highly educated, are not all within the city, so like are sometimes coming into the city looking for stuff to do. The Philly Fun Guide audience is definitely geared a lot more towards like children and like looking for stuff for kids, but the email not as much. So um, we encourage you guys to share anything that you would want in front of the Funsavers audience through your highlight. As far as scheduling, you just reach out to me directly and we'll set you up. We do have a schedule. And so if you have some dates in mind, I'll let you know if they are booked or not. We can be flexible. I work with you. And yeah, that's pretty much the process. Let me put my email in the chat real quick so you guys have it. Um,
And
did I
And
answer
just
then
your
Swift,
question, Daniela?
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I just want to give a little bit more context about our audience profile. From a social media perspective, we do skew a little younger and a little bit more diverse. And I would say racially diverse from a social media perspective, which is starting to translate in our email. So I don't want it to seem like our email is only white women. It's just majority of it is white women. But we have been growing over the past, I want to say 3-4 years now, increasing younger subscribers as well as more racially diverse folks. And I think, Karia, you were about to say something as well.
I was. So, in terms of the highlight, because I think you did also ask, usually when we ask that to be in, Francis is very flexible. We do usually ask for the copy for your highlight at least 3 days prior to that Thursday it would run to give us the internal space to check it, make sure that everything's good, because that's another thing that comes with the highlight. You send us your content and then we internally review it to make sure that all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before it goes live on Thursday. And as is our life, sometimes like images don't work, sometimes sentences don't make sense. And we take that in between time to go back to you and say, hey, can we have another image? It looks a little different. Or, hey, we reworked the second sentence. Are you okay with that? So I also wanted to throw that in there that this is a partnership. Is our way of being partners, content partners.
And I think you also asked a question about what type of content would be great or appropriate. I think what really is resonating is kind of that behind the scenes or something that's really personal to the audience. And to Cabria's point, we will, re-edit your blurb to make sure it works for this audience because we want it to be as successful as possible. So like if it reads jargony, if it reads too much like a ad, we will try to fix it a little bit better so it's much more of a personal relationship you're building with that audience. So I hope that helps a little bit in thinking about what content you can give to this audience. And I believe, Ed, your hand was up, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah, just a quick question. It's great that you have, what was it, 145,000 subscribers. Is there any way, as just maybe once as a baseline, to try to figure out what overlap organizations have with that? So is there any way of me finding out like the net names that I'm hitting when we send something to your group?
I'm thinking out loud. So I want to preference that. I think the best way we could do that would be if you send us an exclusion list, and we can exclude names that might double, and then we can kind of pull and say this is the actual list, and that way you can know the number. Like if we went from 145,000 down to 100,000, you know that 40,000 of those folks are in your database. If that is helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. It just helps me kind of put the return in perspective when we're doing the offers. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Any other questions?
All right, I'm going to end the dead silence. Oh, wait. There is a question in the chat. Are there any associated costs to the ads or highlight? I'm going to let Cabria take that one.
Okay. Especially since this is like really my territory. So there for Funsaver highlights, they are a free member benefit to members. So if you're a member of the Cultural Alliance, you get those 3 Funsaver highlights, no charge. Like Francis said, we just don't want you to like book them back to back. And from a place of equity, we reduce the number to 3 so that other members of the Cultural Alliance can also get the stage. If you're a non-member and you would like, if you are a non-member who is not a PNC Arts Alive grantee, have to preface that, there is a cost associated with the Funsaver highlight. So that's one question. And there is also cost associated with a standard ad and an FS deal, which if there are no other questions like related to the new format, we can head into my portion of the information session that talks a little bit more about pricing specifically.
All right, Francis, take it away.
All right, let's talk about advertising. So, me again. And with these changes in the Funsaver program, there is a unique opportunity to have more control over the content you share in our Funsavers email with our audience. As Francis just shared, there are options to purchase Funsaver deal ads in the email with no ticketing limitations or discount requirements. The deal can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a discount on general admission, subscriptions. It can be a buy one, get one half off. The sky is the limit. And the ad clicks directly through to your website so you can more easily track conversions from your Funsavers campaigns. You can also decide that you would like to market without a discount and build marketing campaigns that trick customer behavior and build engagement with your content. And I pause there to say, we believe firmly in building ad campaigns that trick the audience. If they think that you're going to give a deal, then they click. whether it's a deal or not. If they're not sure if you're going to give a deal, they click to see if it's a deal. That's totally okay. You're allowed as marketers. So, for all members of the Cultural Alliance, there is the benefit of member pricing. So, in our regular weekly Funsaver emails, FS deal ad is $150, and a standard ad is $250. Um, there's special pricing for our promotional emails, like the PNC Arts Alive holiday email that Francis mentioned earlier, and the pricing for members to purchase a FS deal and a promotional email is $75, and then the standard price is still $250. So ideal to bundle regular Funsaver email ads and promotion ads when you're thinking about your overall campaign. But on top of those price points that I just mentioned in this new product structure, we still have so many different ways to engage this audience, whether it's web display ads on the Philly Fun Guide, social media marketing, which Roberta brought up before, and dedicated emails to this Funsaver audience. Being the audience services manager, I think about our products every day, most of the day, but I want to take this time for you to ask me specific questions about our products, our audience, their performance, and what it would look like to become an advertising partner with the Cultural Alliance. So I'm going to pause here and say that I specifically gave prices that were geared towards members because I anticipated that this would be a member heavy call. But if there are any non-members on the call who would like to know pricing for those things or just general questions around advertising, it is a lot of information, a lot of changes, feel free to ask me. I want to answer your questions.
There's a question in the chat.
There is a
And
question from Jack. Hi, Jack. Does a deal at secure one fund saver email placement, or is it listed on the website as well for a duration of time? Great question, Jack. So a deal ad secures one fund saver email placement. Although I would say when you're considering advertising through the Cultural Alliance, my go-to response is let's have a call and see what you're trying to accomplish. Let's have a call to talk about marketing goals and budget, because in all likelihood, I would really try to discourage you from buying just one ad placement unless you were trying to test our market. I would more say, let's buy a few different ads across our various channels to see how your content performs across our different platforms. So thank you, Jack, because that opened me up to say that. Any other questions for me? Okay, so if you guys do have any questions for me, I am going to drop our fancy dancy new media kit in the chat, and that gives you a visual to reference in context to this information session. When you're thinking about advertising, you want to actually see apples to apples pricing. It includes our Philly Fun Guide and Fun Saver audiences, but it also includes other audiences through the overall Cultural Alliance. So if you have any questions for me at any time, send me an email, call me, and we can most definitely discuss what it would look like for you to become an advertising partner and which of our audiences work best for what you're trying to achieve. Um, if you don't have any questions for me right now, cheer, cheer, I will turn it over to Roberta to close us out with the last two portions of the session.
all right. Well, thank you so much for that. And so I want to talk a little bit more about content partnerships. and which is something that some of you might know about and some of you might not. And so I just want to kind of talk through what content partnerships are for us here at the Cultural Alliance. I have a question. The question being, did you know that when you post your event to the Philly Fun Guide, your event also appears in other website calendars? Just going to give a second for Francis to go to the next slide. All right, there we go. Zoom, guys. It's all Zoom. But basically, I wanted to pose that question. Did you know that when you post the event to the Philly Fun Guide, your event also features on other websites? Just want to get a raise or show of hands or thumbs up that did you know that that happens? Or chat response. Okay, we have a few folks that did not know that. All right. Well, it does. And so we have a lot of content partners with media outlets as well as regional folks. So for instance, Parkway Museum Council also has a power calendar by us. Broad Street Review also has a calendar, as well as the Cultural Alliance of Chester County. We also work in close partnership with Delco Arts, Ready Set Philly, and Visit Philly. So there are several ways that we do kind of content partnerships. Of course, there's the traditional way of us powering other people's calendars. So that way your events, sometimes depending on the type of calendar they have, some of your advertisement will also appear on their websites. And we also have relationships with Visit Philly and Ready Set Philly, where we provide content and information to them about events listed on the Philly Fun Guide. This is another shameless plug for you to use the Philly Fun Guide. It is free for everyone to just post your events to the Fun Guide. You never know like how we use that information. Our goal at the Cultural Alliance is really to elevate the voice of our sector, but also to build more audience for arts and culture and build more robustness of our marketing ecosystem. And so we encourage you to take advantage of that. Now that you know, and knowing is half the battle, that your event, just that free posting, could appear in several different calendars. And it's something that we're going to continue to work on throughout the year. We're always looking for new ways to interact and be content partners in different ways. So if you want to become a content partner, just let us know. I'm available to talk about that and we can work through it. In addition to, our content partnerships, we're also big on community and collaboration. So if you're not already a part of the Arts Marketing Affinity Group, which is a space for arts marketers to learn from each other, to also problem solve in community, please let us know. We also have a Slack channel, which if you're in a bind and you're not sure what to do, you can drop a question and someone from the community can help you. We've also done a lot of digital programming this last year as a response to the pandemic to help us all kind of problem solve and get through that. And I'm actually going to drop the playlist for that in the chat for you to review. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so when you get a chance, you can look at all of those marketing affinity group meetings that took place, which really are pandemic related and hopefully will help you even as we transition out of the pandemic. We also have been thinking about, of course, reopening and recovery from this global crisis. And so we recently launched a group that brings together arts and cultural organizations of various sizes, media outlets, and community partners to work together on various marketing campaigns, centralized messaging around reopening of arts and culture. And this group is called the Arts and Culture Reopening Collaborative. And I'm actually going to drop a one-sheeter in the chat for you to review. But if you're interested in joining any of these groups, please reach out to myself or Cabria Rogers or Francis to basically be added to those lists and be added to those ongoing meetings. So there is the one-sheeter for you. The point is that we've said this before, but I want to reiterate, we are your marketing partners. As an art service organization, we're here to work with you to elevate your content. And that's why we really are doing this evolution to better serve you. We hear you. We also take what you tell us and what works, and we want to do things that heighten your capacity, but also make it easier for you to do what you do best, which is market your programs, your events, your campaigns, who you are as organizations. And so our job is to make sure that we give you audience, we get you research, and we just keep you one step ahead of the curve. And so to close us out today, I do want to have a discussion. We have a lot of time to talk, so I'm super excited. But finally, we want to talk about promotions. As we mentioned, we do special promotions and we have special funding, which we actually do put marketing dollars behind to advertise these particular promotions. And you've seen promotions in the form of membership and subscriptions if you've been here like for a while, or our Valentine's Day flash sale, or our holiday spectacular. Or this past spring, we actually did Spring Awakening as kind of our rollout of some of the reopening that was happening during the spring. And so I wanted to have an open dialogue discussion with you all about, what promotions, as you think about recovery and reopening, would appeal to you best. We don't want to do like the same promotions that may be ineffectual because your entire membership subscription model has changed, your season model has changed. We really want to hear from you about what promotions do you think will resonate with a broad general audience. And so we're going to stop screen sharing now and just open it up for discussion. I would love to invite you to turn on your cameras if you can. Use the chat function, come off mute. If you even have any questions about what we just shared in this entire presentation, because we know this was a lot of information to drop on you in the morning, you can also ask questions regarding that as well. But I would love to just hear your voices in the room. Any thoughts about promotions? We are still planning to do holiday promotions, just to give you a thought. And we're also planning to do the Valentine's Day flash sale because we did find great success with that in the past. And we think those two things are pretty solid, even during the pandemic crisis and as we continue to reopen. I see in the chat, Cynthia said fall promotions, as this is very often the time of season announcement. So with fall promotions, typically we usually do membership and subscriptions to kick off the fall. However, is there another way to present it? Do we want to just focus on fall events only, or what are some of your thought process? I'm just curious. And feel free to come off of mute. Let's talk. Ed, go ahead and come off of mute.
Hi, I think one of the challenges is going to be gauging how comfortable people are coming back. And also we've been trying to build early sales for a number of years now. And I'm wondering if there's some type of, back to cultural events or back to the theater or whatever it might be, letting people know that things are reopening and doing some kind of big splash to gauge the interest and maybe do pre-sale tickets and so forth.
Okay, I like that. Kind of like playing on that back to school event, but back to the arts event.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else want to weigh in on Fringe Festival, readings, etc.? Okay. And I'm not sure if you are aware of what's happening at the Kimmel Center. I know Ashley is representing the Kimmel Center on September 18th. Ashley, if you want to take a moment to plug that, you could have the floor.
Sure. And my colleague Carrie Williams is on the call as well. But yes, we are having a we're calling it Art Launch 2021 on September 18th. It's a Saturday. We're just getting ready to announce it, so it hasn't been like out there yet. But it's meant to be a reopening event for not only our campus, but just arts in general. So we are inviting other organizations to participate in any way. Again, we're in the beginning stages of planning this, so we're not completely there yet, but it's meant to have, performances. It's a completely free community event, and just meant to build excitement around the arts reopening. So I think that could be something very cool as well. Like Ed was saying, something about just building excitement in general for everybody reopening. So if we kind of align around the same timing, AE Blast, like you said, that does have all of this, like all of these events are on sale now. Here's all of the theaters, all of the cultural institutions that are reopening, just kind of get everybody excited about it.
Yeah, I think that would be great. This is definitely giving us a lot of ideas as we think about, when to launch this. And since you're launching that in September 18th, I would say, because typically we do start our fall campaigns like late August through September. And I'm thinking of shifting that a little later, since I want to really focus on highlighting that September 18th is kind of like the kickoff to the season in a sense. And maybe it's starting in October. And I don't know if that works for some of you or if that's too late. So I want to be curious about timing wise for a Back to the Arts campaign. Does that work for you, Ed, or is that too late?
I was gonna say, personally, I think September is better just because we are talking about events that are, at least for us, October on, and talking about the reopening event. So from our perspective, but I don't know about everybody else's.
Yeah, I think, that works well for us also. We happen to be opening later than we normally would. And I think the Inquirer is doing their preview around the second or third week of September this year.
I believe so as well. I don't know the exact date, but yeah, around mid September.
Yeah.
And besides like the fall, what other campaigns or other marketing promotions do you want us to kind of focus on throughout the year? So we did mention holiday and Valentine's Day, but like, are there other things, that you need us to push a little bit in different parts of the season? Go ahead, Ed.
Sorry again. And I'm not sure whether or not you already do anything like this, but I am wondering, have we done any Christmas in July or any type of summer sale? Tends to be a slower period where we might be able to build up some interest.
Fun fact, we actually were planning on introducing something like that in 2019 for the 2020, for summer 2020, and we just never got the chance to. So it is something we talked about because summertime tends to be slower for us too. Are you thinking late summer, early summer, June through August kind of?
I've tied it in the past with the whole Christmas in July, but any type of extended campaign. Just again, what we're trying to do is build early sales and really gauge where each one of our productions might go.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 really ruined a lot of plans. We had a lot of cool promotional plans for that whole year, and then the world imploded, and we had to pivot. So I'm really excited that you brought that up. And Claire, you have a comment in the chat. Is there any changes to how to submit events to the Philly Fun Guide in the Inquirer, if there is any interest in the Funsaver program? I understand, I think the first part of your
Yes.
question.
Yeah, I think, Claire, you're asking if there's any change in how to use the Fun Guide if there's no interest in the Funsaver program. No, not at all. You can still submit events to the Fun Guide. And as Roberta mentioned, they will appear on several of our partner calendars, as well as the website and our editorial content. So yeah, no, you can still just use that if you'd like to.
All right. So we got summer, we got back to the arts in the fall. Any other fun, quirky things that we could do? We did experiment with during the 2020 pandemic holiday season with Museum Store Day and Museum Gift Shop Store Day. So I think we want to do something like that. And I'm even possibly even transitioning that to a promotional campaign. So I'm just curious if there's any museums in the room or any visual arts folks who have stores or theaters that have stores would be interested in promoting kind of their storefronts or merchandise in that regards, if it's online or in person. So I'm just curious, what's the appetite for something like that? All right, cool, cool, cool. Getting a lot of good chatter in the chat. Here's the thing: we're throwing out ideas. Again, this is all of us being marketing partners to each other, and we might not have thought about it in that regards. Like even if you are selling shirts to a particular show, I've been to the Walnut for their Legally Blonde show, and I'm sorry, that sippy cup idea with the wine was awesome, and I still remember it to this day. Like it was my favorite thing for the overall experience, and I would like, say for instance, you have leftover merchandise from that show and you want to sell it online. We can do kind of promotional campaigns around that type of marketing promotion. But it's an idea to throw out there. Like if you have marketing merch, that would be great. Lauren from the PMA is interested in a retail promotion. Okay, great. Awesome. I'm curious, of the folks who participated in the museum store promotion that we did, was that useful for you? Like we just had it as an editorial and promoted it through social media. I know I did. I tried to be very conscientious about my Christmas shopping last year, and actually did largely use our list, our own list that we had curated to purchase gifts from, and encourage other folks to do so. Let me see here. Is it possible to have the links you posted earlier? Yes, we're going to send all the links that we have posted in this chat or mentioned in the thank you email along with this particular recording. So you'll have this to look back on. I also want to say that this is not going to be the last time you're going to hear from us. We are going to constantly talk and check in with you. One of the things that we want to do, as you are also, trying to market smarter with limited resources, we are also trying to do the same as well. Like we have marketing dollars and we want to make sure to maximize the impact as much as possible, which is, for us, it is about audiences and clicks, but it's also that back end of what does that return on investment look like for the sector. And if we are seeing like good trends, but you're not seeing it capitalize on your end, that's something that we need to know so we can better invest where it capitalized on your end, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, any idea. I'm so excited for like this time period because I feel like we're all like innovating and experimenting. And so, allow us to experiment if you can't experiment, but like give us a direction that works best for you. So
Well,
no idea is bad.
also, I want to throw out the idea to that point of us thinking about it differently and also trying to make audiences feel comfortable coming in person. Don't be afraid to talk about how you're being cautious as we reopen and we hold in-person events. Like if you're holding on to a hybrid model, tell them that. If you're doing a streaming service subscription, but you're also doing like three in-person events, tell them that and frame that around their safety and their comfortability, right? Frame it around being inclusive with them. Like I think there's a lot of room for us, right, in this recovery stage to curate immersive experiences for people who still feel uncomfortable and people who are excited to go back in person. and tailor content around that. Maybe you do run ads in the Funsaver. Maybe you do a behind the scenes clip of how you're cleaning your theaters or how you're cleaning your spaces or how you're socially distancing your spaces, if you still are, as a social media campaign. Like, take this time to add the human element, because I think the more they see that from arts and culture, the more audiences will feel more comfortable coming back into those in-person spaces, or investing in the hybrid model still. Like, maybe they do come for one in-person event, but they do still opt into your streaming services. So I want to throw that out there too.
I just want to, so I don't want to put you too much on the spot, Donna, but I think your question is an important question to kind of clear up clarity wise. If you're okay with me just like post, like saying that question out loud, either say yes. Okay. So Donna asked a question about the difference between the highlights and posting event to our website. So I think there's a little bit of confusion, and I want to give Frances the door to explain the difference between what a Funsaver highlight is and what posting event to the Fun Guide is. And then we're going to give you a tutorial, Donna, on how to post events to the website. If you also need that tutorial, let us know. We'll send that to you. We might even just put that in the email on how you how you post an event to the site. And that gives you a thorough walkthrough of, what type of image is best to post, how to write your content. Also, we are really big on accessibility and equity, and how to also tailor your event content to that model as well. But I want Frances to give us a little bit of clarity on the difference between highlight and posting event to the Fun Guide.
Sure. So I'm seeing a lot of familiar names in here. Many of you guys are users of the Fun Guide, frequent users. And so actually, I'll just take the time to just show you real quick how to what the difference is when you go to our website. So if you just want to submit an event to the Philly Fun Guide, here is the phillyfunguide.com. And so these are the listings on the Fun Guide here. You click through to it, it opens more information, your ticket link, if you contact information, pricing information, if you included that, as well as location, date, all the information here. So that is a listing on the Philly Fun Guide. To do that, again, like we said, is completely free and open to anybody in the community. Is right here at the top, and that is consistent throughout the website. You could be anywhere on the site, and this will be consistent up top. You want to go to the blue Submit Event button, and that will take you to our form. It's just 3 short parts, and you hit Submit at the end, and then your event is populated to the site in just a few days. So that is submitting an event to the Fun Guide. If you would like to also do a Funsavers highlight, you can reach out to me personally. I did drop my email in the chat, and all of our contact information is in our media kit as well. That is basically the short content portion of our weekly Funsavers email that I showed you guys earlier. Which is just a quick blurb from you guys. It can be anything that you want to talk about. Perhaps you have a show opening. The example I showed you was a highlight that we did actually run to our audience from Bristol Riverside Theater. They were doing the show Broadway Memories, and it was like their first outdoor concert. And it was kind of like the beginning of like their outdoor series. And so something like that, and to Cabria's point, if you guys are reopening, if you are doing a digital subscription, if you are starting a streaming service, the Funsavers highlight is really a great way to directly just let people know that. and tell people directly, as long as it's not any fundraising or direct solicitation to our subscriber base. The highlight is just a couple of words of anything that you want to tell our audience. So yes. And let me know if you're not already on the Funsavers list, by the way, and you would like to be. And then you will also get the emails weekly and keep up with each other. I hope I answered your question, Donna.
Yeah, and I also want to elevate too that we know that the Annenberg just changed their name to Penn. Is it Penn Art Live? I believe, yes, Penn Art Live, and they actually used the Funsaver highlight to kind of reintroduce themselves to the Funsaver audience, and that's a great way to use that highlight, right? And I'm pretty sure they're going to do subsequent advertising after that highlight, so it really is something that they've used a part of their marketing campaign for that audience to kick off with the highlight, do some subsequent advertising, and get people in the habit of understanding that Annenberg and Penn Art Live is the same thing. And any other questions or promotion ideas or marketing ideas in general too? We're always looking to do things better here at the Cultural Alliance. And Cynthia, you have a question about, do you think that there might be a time when highlight to include video content instead of images? Yeah, we'd love to do that. We can easily do that. It will be kind of like a trick that you're going to see in your thank you email that we do, which is we put an image and then we put a play button on top of it. So it indicates to people to click on it, and then you'll take you to a YouTube page. So yeah, but we can easily do that. That will be really awesome. I think that will vary up the content and be something different for our audience too.
Have fun. What I want to say is have fun. Like Roberta and Francis and I want you to use this as a place to like test things, try things, push the limits, because we're all arts marketers and we know that if we're not having fun, why are we doing it, right? So like throw us out crazy ideas, throw us out new ideas. We want to try them, we want to test them. And it also helps us know and see what the audience responds to when they're getting those different mixes of things and approaches.
And I think we're also like big puzzle people over here too. So we love figuring stuff out. So like, you might throw out an idea and we're like, all right, give us a couple days to think through how we can do it. And, we'll figure it out. And if we can't execute it in the way that you want, we'll try to figure out a compromise to get the effect that you were going for. We're all creative people. Here, especially in our department, we enjoy the creative a lot and doing fun things. I think we just all enjoy like content production too much, probably. But it's just fun. It's fun to do something fun. We like to keep it fun for the audience, and we like to feel like hopefully that warmth is communicated in the content that we deliver, and it keeps people coming and it keeps the audience growing. All right. Well, does anyone have any questions? Like, I don't want to cut anything short. I want to give you as much time as possible. We were scheduled to go to 11:30. And I always know we always appreciate time back, especially during this time. But I don't want to cut us off too short if you have any additional questions about anything today or any ideas. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to give you time back. I'm not going to belabor this meeting any longer. If you do have any questions or concerns about anything, please contact myself, Roberta Johnson, Francis Ellison, or Cabria Rogers. As mentioned in the media kit, All of our email addresses are listed. Our also unofficial person, a part of our team is Kristen Venn. So if you do have any press releases or advocacy concerns, she is also there available for that as well. We will send out that thank you email, which you'll probably see either tomorrow or at the latest Monday, but we're going to try to get it to you tomorrow. I have to think. I'm like, oh my God, it's Thursday. I'm like, what day is this? What is time? But thank you so much for all joining us, and have a great rest